Good morning to our European and African contingency, and happy start to the weekend for our dHealthineers who are joining from further east, whether it is Southeast Asia or Japan. Today, dHealth will be hosting our AMA on dHealth's 2024 blueprint, discussing bridging infrastructure and comprehensive solutions at dHealth. I'm Ibrahim Abid. Most of you know me by HEMA. I'm a career management consultant, started my career after completing my schooling and university in London at Sevenoaks School and the LSE respectively. Started my journey at Deloitte, but have been around the world as an international tax innovation strategy and IT consultant before joining the tech sector in 2020. Fun fact about me, I very much enjoy team sports like football and physical activity, and therefore find myself in various precarious roles, having spent a good part of the year in the Austrian Armed Forces, and recently I've been very much into coaching youth football in my spare time after dHealth's workday. Eberhard, if you may introduce yourself.
Yeah, most of you know me already. I'm Eberhard Scheuer. I'm actually a psychologist by training, and I'm the founder of dHealth. So, I mean, since you started with fun facts, you can also see on my new profile picture that I'm a dedicated sailor. I enjoy being exposed to the forces of nature, and this is also something that's probably good for being in blockchain, that you because unexpected things can happen there.
You can navigate the tough seas.
Yeah.
Exactly. All right. So I want to first just do a short round of thanks. I want to thank our dedicated boards, of which, of course, Eberhard is a part of, but also to Vega and to We, our visionary investors, and of course, to our continuously growing partner network. Of course, a special gratitude to Eberhard, whose leadership is driving a much needed shift in the healthcare sector. And last but not least, of course, to our vibrant dHealth community. Thank you for joining. Your unwavering support and engagement is the backbone of our journey. And without each one of you, of course, dHealth would not even exist. Let me give you a short introduction about dHealth, and then I'll share with you the agenda of the day. So dHealth Foundation, you've known it since 2021. We're a pioneering force in the world of healthcare technology integration. And we introduced a groundbreaking public blockchain framework for healthcare in 2021. The overarching mission is to foster alignment among all stakeholders within the healthcare sector and the ecosystem. And we are producing our objective is enhanced efficiency, transparency, and overall value. The framework seamlessly facilitates the adoption of both blockchain and our in-house technologies for both individuals and organizations, making innovation accessible. At dHealth, our current services include 1, accelerated research and target group patient monitoring. This is done through our cutting-edge tracking and surveying Sentiva Life app, available on both iOS and Android. We conduct supply chain tracking and digital certification for vital healthcare commodities, such as vaccines, medications, and essential medical supplies. And last but not least, our update, our incentivization of healthy living, which we do through this Web3 app of ours. Now, dHealth, of course, also oversees the administration of a 40-node layer 1 blockchain, powered by esteemed medical and healthcare stakeholders such as Roche, Eli Lilly. Of course, we have also university supports from the University of Zurich and Gifu University in Japan. And the blockchain ecosystem is powered by the digital health point / DHP token for seamless transaction. To engage with our blockchain technology, you can access the dHealth wallet, available on iOS and Android, and explore transactions on the dHealth blockchain using the dHealth Explorer under explorer.dhealth.cloud. Now, with a steadfast commitment to data security, certification, tracking, patient monitoring, we hope and we strive to be the foremost authority in blockchain for healthcare. And that is us. We essentially want to pioneer the digital health revolution with decentralization. Our agenda for today, we will start with a quick short intro from Eberhard around the inspirations behind dHealth. Then I'm going to share a few recent highlights. We're going to pivot back to dHealth infrastructure and our current next moves. Then I will talk a little bit about the B2B services and our development there. Last but not least, we will shortly talk about marketing and DHP strategy, and then also receive some audience questions. Now, I've been talking for a fair amount. I would like to turn over the mic to Eberhard, and maybe you could share with us a short story about data misuse in the healthcare sector and how such situations inspired the creation of dHealth and pushing for digital transformation in the healthcare sector.
Yeah, thank you, Hima. As you all know, who have been with us for quite some time, the original idea was giving health data a value, so through tokenization, so that people actually tend to their data, because that was my experience in research, that everybody is after the data, but users / patients are not really interested in that. And that situation also leads to the like a void who is taking care of the data in the field. And what happens is that if the patients are not looking after their data, they leave the door open to others using the data without asking them for permission. And there have been numerous cases in the past where biosamples, data about patients have been gathered and have been used for beyond the original purpose of when the data or the biosamples, for example, were collected. And then years later, people discovered that their data was being used for other purposes. One of the most famous cases is the Gila Henrietta Lark's cells, which live until today, although the person died decades ago, and they're still being used in cancer research because they're immortal cells, apparently, but they come from a person. And it has been a struggle with the family of Henrietta Lark's all along about continuing using those data. But there are famous cases in the NHS with Google changing the rules of accessing data, connecting data in the background without people knowing that their health data was being used for different purposes than just for medical treatments. Yeah, and with the rise of the whole AI movement in healthcare, we also see that those large language models using data that without permission. So those models just take a lot of data in, they crawl clinical data, and basically it's totally unclear if this is allowed, who owns the insights coming out of that. Right. And I think blockchain can help a lot here to make things more transparent.
Regulatory compliance is definitely a key factor, and further along the AMA, we will highlight some value adds to the healthcare sector that our data collection tools will be bringing.
Yeah, I mean, just what I would like to add something about the regulatory compliance. I mean, that's not 100% reassurance that things go right. I mean, we see that, for example, in highly regulated Swiss banks, and they falter within 48 hours. So regulation is not helping always. It gives you the guardrails, but I think transparency is much more important, so that everybody can see what's happening rather than just pure regulation. Sorry about that.
No, of course. No, thank you for sharing a slice of the vision. Well, let's get into the meat of the matter. And maybe I think I'll just start and warm up quickly with some recent highlights, just a few things before we get into the dHealth infrastructure. And actually, I was going to pass over the mic as well to you, Eberhard. I was going to ask you about SwipeLux, our new fiat on-ramp. What is the purpose behind it? Why did we integrate it?
Yeah, SwipeLux makes it easy to buy and sell DHP. It actually works through the Pancake liquidity pool, and it enables people that are not crypto savvy to own DHP without having having to log into an exchange and so on. So, and if you think about healthcare being probably the largest market for consumer access, 99.9% of those potential users are not crypto savvy. So you have to have like a easy way in and out for them with the tokens, if they need the tokens for some utility that the token is going to have in the future.
Right. And of course, if you go on dHealth.com, at the bottom right, there's a call to action button that says acquire DHP, where you can acquire DHP points / tokens with your MasterCard and Visa going directly to your wallet. So I think the minimum amount is 20 euros. So you definitely play a part there. Sorry, Eberhard.
Yeah, it works well in Europe and the US. We're testing right now if it's working with Japanese credit cards. I don't know if you have the newest insights there, Hima.
I think the last 2 days we've had pretty smooth operations. So right at the start, when we initially launched, Swipeblocks had a few delays, and they would email you saying that within 24 hours you would get your order received. But now we've had no more complaints and no more issues in the last few days. So hopefully this should continue as it is. It's a good start. Onwards and upwards, we have also minted BDHP, and we have listed it on a T1 CEX in the last 2 weeks. Why BDHP?
Yeah, I think so far we have the native DHP, which is still the largest pool of DHP because of the ability to stake it. We have the ERC20, which we originally used for fundraising, and now why the BDHP, which is a BEP20 DHP, because the BNB chain, or the Binance universe, as you all know, is the biggest one and the biggest blockchain ecosystem, and also for tapping into existing liquidity. And if you think about our most recent application, dHealth's, where we support healthy behavior. Right now, it's just not just fitness and activity, but in the near future, it will also be added nutrition and mental health, i.e. stress, coping with stress. So the rewards will be in BEP20 DHP. And that also means that instead of having to log in with the dHealth wallet, which a lot of people would have to download already, they can use it with MetaMask or Trust Wallet, or basically with the most common wallets out there that are handling BEP20 protocol tokens. So this will be live next week. So that means you can not only earn rewards in native DHP, you can also earn rewards in BDHP. And once this is happening, BNB chain promised us to communicate that to their 1.2 active users daily, that they can earn BDHP through the update health application. Sorry, my brain is kind of foggy because I took the COVID booster shot yesterday, and I'm kind of have a foggy mind. So sorry for that.
No worries. You've got me alongside you to steer as well. So.
Anyway, so what I'm trying to say here is that through that we are able to tap into a much larger ecosystem than right now, because people can just use the most common wallets already. They don't have to extra download the dHealth wallet. So some of you might now think, okay, this is diverting it from dHealth. No, it's not. I think there's a multi-chain future ahead of large projects, and so having a wrapped DHP or BNB chain is just adding to the ecosystem and the pool of potential users, which of course, since the total supply across all chains is the same, it should also increase the price of the token dramatically by just the extended use and knowledge of the token. And P2B listing was also necessary to make the Web20 token available to the market beyond just the decentralized exchanges.
Yes, I think this has been the second tier 1 CX for our listing, for our token listing in the last years. So big stride ahead, and we look forward to seeing how the price will shift and how the DHP users will increase on our network. Just to quick, because since in the interest of time, I will quickly just run through the rest of our recent highlights before we move on to the infrastructure, where I'll hand over the mic again. We have released a new website, both for mobile and for desktop. This has been a big kind of shift and a really good way for us to align within our team, within our partners and our stakeholders. As a result, it's led to a series of demos that we've given to clients and an influx of partners and clients. And this is kind of leading the migration/addition into the Binance Chain universe. Finally, I also would like to add that in recent weeks, we have acquired international healthcare clients in both in data collection and supply chain tracking. And this is part of our new strategy for a well-rounded B2B data collection tool, which I will be sharing a little bit on in a moment. But to keep you on a roll, Eberhard, and talking about BNB chain and the Binance ecosystem, I wanted to say, I mean, dHealth infrastructure, we've been working on finding a suitable long-term solution for the blockchain infrastructure of dHealth over the last months, with our main focus being the Binance ecosystem, right? Can you maybe share a little bit about what happened with BAS initially at the start of the summer, and how we are moving from there in the larger aspect, and potentially maybe the broader vision for token utility, which I think you've already touched upon.
Okay. Unfortunately, we have to talk about infrastructure because we need to have some technical basis of the projects. And in healthcare, as we observe it now, for example, yesterday I was talking to Novo Nordisk. Blockchain itself doesn't sell in healthcare anymore. So what sells is the problem if you have a solution that solves a problem of the industry. But again, that can only be done with the advantages of blockchain in certain aspects. And that brings us back to the question of infrastructure. As you all know, we started like 1.5 years ago, or even more than that, March 2021, with our own layer 1 blockchain. And there have been a lot of ambitions, and what we also realized is that it's pretty time and resource consuming to keep up your own infrastructure. We're holding on to that right now because that's still our mainnet and where most applications run. But the question is, as you also all know, when we started, NEM was one of the top 10 blockchains. Now it's not even top 100. So what will the future bring to technology? And I mean, two years from now, we don't know how the market is going to be. So we started looking for backup solutions, extending to different universes. And of course, the BNB chain universe was well suited due to the large ecosystem, liquidity, and yeah, I mean, EVM compatibility. So this was the choice in April that we switched or extend to the BNB universe. But since we don't want to be at the mercy of big blockchain, we thought that a sidechain solution would be the best way to go. And this is where we were concentrating on. And when we talked to our partners, the word Binance didn't resonate so well in the healthcare data field, because people are mixing up a lot of things. They don't understand the decentralization part, especially if you run your own validator nodes in a sidechain. You're not at the mercy of that main chain. Depending on the protocol, might be different in Polygon, but certainly for Binance application sidechain, that's true. So we're still evaluating that. There are other options coming up right now due to the development that has taken place in the meantime since April. One solution that we're looking into is also Cosmos, the interchain foundation supporting Cosmos. And those of you who don't know Cosmos, it's basically the backbone application of, I would say, 50% of the bridges in the field, and a lot of blockchain projects use the Cosmos SDK. So this is something we are looking also into it. Funny fact is that the president of the Interchain Foundation was the first one who introduced me to blockchain in beginning of 2017 or end of 2016, when we both went to a workshop to the Ministry of Health in Germany. So just another fun fact. But we are dedicated to extend the dHealth network to more a sidechain infrastructure, just as a backup to the current system. And at some point, we also have to ask the community what is the most suitable way to go, because maintaining a lot of different layer ones is not of the interest of the project. So there will be a decision at some point what we're going to do, and hopefully we can also involve the community with quadratic voting into that decision, making that decision.
Right. I mean, I would lead this into kind of our next road tour that we are doing, because how are we realizing this scaling / the migration is, of course, with backers. And I've been planning, and we've been with a few of our investors and our partners planning a syndicate or scaling syndicate road trip to the GCC Gulf Cooperation countries, where we will be speaking to various stakeholders regarding capital injection and supporting us with our various projects and service provisions. We will be heading there, actually, Ibhat and myself, with some other partners and investors, to Riyadh, the capital of Saudi Arabia, to begin with, around the middle of November. Why are we going there? What are we doing there? Now, the aim of our roadshow is to bring the novel tech solutions and solutions that we have, and find sort of other backers who will scale with us as we go along. Where will we go? We're going to go initially to Riyadh, which is the capital of Saudi Arabia, to speak to stakeholders related to the Ministry of Health, the PIF, and other offices in the area. We will also be visiting Dubai, where we will be talking to venture capital funds in the area. One angel investor of ours, Robin, will also be joining from GILT, the Global Institute of Leadership and Technology, and we will then share our words or our parts with these stakeholders there. At the same time, we'll also be supported by UK-based funding institutions from our network. And yeah, we hope to be able to achieve a faster pace, and with the right resources, we can scale our team and go beyond our current setup as a startup slash SME. I don't know if Ewout, if you'd like to talk a touch about either one of these two topics. Do we have, or do you want to share maybe a touch on the long-term objective or what we're kind of striding towards?
Yeah, so I think the basis of all, as I mentioned, is the blockchain infrastructure. But what we also noticed in the past, it's currently very hard to sell that, especially as a token investment. So if you are a public blockchain, you cannot raise easily funds on tokens right now. So the long-term vision is that we basically have projects, and that's also what we're looking for, to spin off certain projects currently and do a classical share-based funding, which then those projects use the dHealth network as a basis for their operations. And so it's basically an indirect funding of the infrastructure through projects like dHealth's is one of them, to keep the infrastructure running and also supporting it financially. So that's the long-term vision, that as a matter of fact, the infrastructure shouldn't matter at all. I sometimes call it the invisible blockchain, as it should be, because people should not deal with the underlying technology that they're using, like we do mostly in everyday life. But the projects and the benefits that the projects bring that operate on top of that blockchain should be easy sells, actually, because the interest is quite high. And through that project, we will basically fund the underlying blockchain infrastructure. And this is the setup for the future, that projects come and use the infrastructure, but also support the infrastructure financially or even with manpower.
Brilliant. Thank you for sharing. Let's transition briefly into B2B development and services, where I think I'll lead the charge and share a little bit around our website update and Sentiva 2.0, before we then hit the marketing strategy and then the questions from the audience. So the release of the new website on the horizon. How will this enhance our B2B presence, and what features can partners expect to see? So for us in the community, the website is pretty big change. It hasn't been revamped for quite a while, and we expect a better oversight of what we're doing. Of course, there's an improved design and strengthened sort of branding presence on the website as well. But it also allows us to, and with the community, to kind of streamline our priorities and align the community with the organization, so that we're aware of what is happening behind the scenes. For our customers, of course, there's going to be a clear understanding of the products and services, which will allow us to engage the right clients in the relevant industries, and provide, of course, tailored solutions, whether they are in supply chain tracking, data collection, certification, or patient monitoring and incentivization. Now, what is the roadmap for dHealth's Health to Earn BSC transition, new features, and its expansion? I think Ewout already shared that next week will be a transformational week for us as we add BSC to updates. Beyond that, we're going to be bringing in new features in the coming weeks and months, including, but not limited to, a competition feature where people can create competitions, events, which will provide you with further rewards. Also, we are putting up a whole redeem page on onto the Health to Earn ecosystem, where initially you'll be able to exchange the active tokens that you've received with rewards and tokens within our own ecosystem, and then soon also with outside partners who will be providing health products and services that are relevant to our application. How are we expanding as an overarching service as well, provision as well? We are developing a partnership with another Health to Earn program, which we'll be sharing some information on soon, and has already been in preparation for quite a while. Also, we are going to engage in a series of campaigns, which we'll be touching up upon in the marketing section. And finally, if you'd like to add our vision regarding nutrition and stress addiction, that would be very kind.
Okay, so there have been numerous platforms like Step-In, Sweatcoin in the past that went down the activity road. And I mean, it's the easiest road because you can actually operationalize activity quite well through all those fitness apps. So that's basically an easy sell, and it's also close to home for most of the crypto users because they're younger, they're not in general healthy, they try to stay healthy. So fitness is quite important and part of their life. So they just have, for example, hook up their Garmin to it and then they can earn tokens. I think being a psychologist and married to a dietitian, I think there's more to healthcare and maintaining your health than just running and staying active. One is, of course, what you eat. There's a saying, you are what you eat. And operationalizing healthy diet is much harder. We talked to the ETH here in Zurich, where they have a program. You just photograph what you eat, and it gives you like an analysis that many proteins and so on, blah, blah, blah. But that's very imprecise. So we still have to do some research on how to operationalize, first of all, the data collection, what people eat. And of course, the recommendations are pretty straightforward. Usually you don't eat enough proteins, so how can you increase your protein intake and so on. So that's the second pillar of healthy lifestyle. And the third one is mental health. I just recently read a study that 50% of Gen Z has clinical relevant mental problems, and I was shocked because as a psychologist I know what it means to have that diagnosis. So how can you start helping people to get better mental health? So certainly it's in combination with fitness, because that's actually quite an important part of mental health improvement programs. Nutrition, we know the connection between the biome, what lives in your bowels also influences your mood and mental health. But still, there's some techniques that you can actually teach people to improve health. And that's what you should reward, like certain breathing techniques they can earn. And you can also measure that with skin conductance level, accelerated heart rate. You can infer somehow the stress, and also from your voice. There's a lot of research out of Israel, for example, that the tone of your voice tells you or tells other people how you feel. It's actually developed originally to detect lies as a lie detector. But there are many things that can be added. But what I'm hope for is that we have those three pillars of health when we help people to modify their behavior by incentivizing the healthy behavior style in those three areas. This is a much more rounded and holistic application based on blockchain than the ones that I already mentioned in the beginning, StepIn, Sweatcoin, and others. And this is what we add. And also that's why we're looking for investments to be able to add that features to the existing application.
Absolutely. I'll tell you one thing, but I'm not particularly surprised at the statistic you've mentioned regarding Gen Z having most of them I don't know if I count to millennials or Gen Z at this point, but we've grown up with a fair amount of social media inputs into our lives, which might have had a long-term effect on the matter. But anyway, besides the point, I think we're going to go for another 10, 15 minutes, I believe. I just wanted to now share a few details regarding Sentiva and Sentiva's B2B service provision and its role in the ecosystem. Now, the grand vision of Sentiva 2.0, which again, this might not be the name within 2 weeks' time. We're still in discussion about that. I believe it might change. But that could be our sort of pioneering service to transform the healthcare space, right? The combination of sort of tailored solutions in data collection, certification, patient monitoring, even supply chain tracking in a sense, would provide a well-rounded B2B data collection tool, which we can tailor to our customers. And it would be particularly beneficial in the healthcare industry for a series of reasons, of which I'm going to mention a few. On one aspect, of course, supply chain efficiency. So tracking the healthcare industry is fairly vital, and having an effective supply chain tracking system that is secure and compliant would severely decrease healthcare inefficiencies. Data-driven decisions are also an important matter. Accurate and timely data collection can help healthcare providers make informed decisions, and this would be whether it's about patient care, inventory management, resource allocation. Data does play a crucial role. We have aspects such as cost efficiency, of course, regulatory compliance with HIPAA and GDPR and other regulations that seem to be popping up by the day. We spoke a touch about incentivizing positive behavior. Scalability is fairly easy as well through our blockchain, and I believe we are also aiming for interoperability and integration, which is fairly important. I believe maybe Ewout, you could share a touch on FHIR and sort of data custodianship by users that we're striving towards.
Yeah, just one thing before I get to that is those of you who follow us for some time, Sentiva has been one of the first applications for collecting real-world data for treatment monitoring, so that they can actually see the quality of the treatment, the efficiency of taking medications. And that was one of the first projects we had with Roche. So we kind of neglected that. Unfortunately, we thought our partners will take up that quite easily and develop it themselves. Since priorities and people have changed over time, we have seen that we must mark what do we have and what do we have that the healthcare market really needs and wants. And this is, funnily enough, the first thing we did. So we're reviving that, improving that, making it more decentralized, adding more features where data and especially the connection between the different data silos bring more better insights to the stakeholders using Sentiva 2.0. Now, when we talk about data silos, then we come automatically to interoperability, data custodianship, and I cannot say that often enough that right now a lot of stakeholders still think hoarding data is their intellectual property, is their business advantage. So I it's probably the advantage of the organization and the company, but it's certainly not in the interest of patients slash users. And how can that standard FHIR, Fast Healthcare Interoperability Resource, help in that sense? Standards are important because it makes data computable. That means you can automatically take data from one silo and process it in another silo. Right now, the interaction is only between the two silos, which blocks that automatic movement of data between applications. So it must be that the user has at least a copy of the original data that sits in a silo. And that's basically what HIPAA in the US 20 years ago, or more than 20 years ago, have started that. And it started that when people wanted to switch health plans, they needed to port, that's why it's Portability Act, the data to another health plan provider. So that's only possible if it's in a certain standard. And there's a new law in the US actually that it's just came out recently that every health IT provider has to provide the data in that format and must be able to give it to you. And if not, per case, the fine is $1 million US. I have a friend who said, okay, I make a business out of that. I ask all of them to give my data, and I'm sure one will fail to do that. So, I mean, everybody knows it's important that data must be portable, and the only person legally that's actually enabled to do that is the user, you and I, because you can request a copy of the existing data. But of course, we also need to have a place where we store that standardized data so that if someone comes and say, okay, I want this piece of data from you because, for example, you're applying for insurance, you want to use our AI service, or you contribute to a research program, then I just give the read access to the data, and that opens the data access to that stakeholder. And it can only be done easily through me because I'm the only one who can instantly give consent to the case-by-case use of the data. Not like in the beginning, what we mentioned is that the use of data is just happening without you knowing it. So I have to be the gatekeeper, the custodian of my data. And for that, I need also a decentralized storage space, which I don't think we're going to talk about today, but we are in talks of potential solution providers for that as well.
With just one question from the audience that fits in well. Who's our security partner?
Well, it's the blockchain itself.
Exactly. just to get one out of the way, since I want to mix in with our time. Just to finalize the Sentiva point, by the start of the new year, you should expect Sentiva to, one, have a new name, have a service landing page, a demo request call to action, an API SDK for integration for clients, a UI UX being improved, and of course, a number of clients that are using our product as they are. Quickly touching up upon marketing strategy, since that is actually also one of the questions from oxjoyz.eth, which is what are the kind of marketing strategies put in place by the team to attract new users in preparation for the bull market? I mean, a few things were mentioned already, right? So we, of course, swipe blocks, our fiat on-ramp listings. We are also looking at a regional exchange and are hoping to list with something that is more close to our community in the coming periods. We have a Zeely campaign for experience points that you can always join on the Discord if you are interested. And of course, we will be holding a holding competition on P2B starting on the 30th after the weekend. So make sure to transfer BTHP into your P2B account to partake and win rewards there. Of course, we are constantly revamping our promotional content, and I believe we need a bit of a virality moment to induce such an effect and such a so much user growth. And that would be whether it is through an institutional backer, as we are hoping for with BNB, or an influencer of some sort. Of course, viral social media content could be our way forward as well, whether it is through TikTok for brand exposure or continuing on our path on Twitter, Reddit, etc. While we add more projects to the ecosystem, DHP utility will increase, which should also spark further purchases of DHP. Anything to add from your side about that?
Well, I think it's fine.
Fairly covered.
Yeah.
That's okay. And then one question from a AR_leb. I can't pronounce the full name since it's in Russian. Will dHealth's team make an automated and convenient bridge between ERC, BSC, and native networks? And then how do you address the challenge of educating and informing the public about the value of benefits of blockchain technology in healthcare? Do you want to take that one over? I think we've been talking about this actually over the last weeks. So
yeah, I think bridging. I mentioned it earlier that one of the big players in bridging between blockchains is Cosmos. And so we're basically hoping that with their help, we can also implement an automated bridge. Right now, we have a manual bridge, which is prone to not failure, but also keeping the balance between the supplies on the different chains. That's a challenge to keep that to the real number, but it has to be an automated bridge. Bridges, as you might also know, are a touchy issue for security reasons, so we want to do it right. So there are no exploitation parts, but also from a regulatory point. So because that's kind of an financial service you're offering, how is it regulated, where is it placed, who's offering the bridge, and so on. So those are all open questions we are working on right now.
How are we educating and informing the public about the value and benefits of blockchain? So our final question from the audience today.
I would like not to have to educate people about blockchain, because the experience is even tech guys in healthcare, they don't get the decentralization part. So ideally, we would not have to educate the public about the use of blockchain, because that's also kind of a resistance part, because a lot of my experience is the knowledge about blockchain technology is decreasing, and when I would get 1 penny per mention this is fraud when in the discussion with people, I would be a rich man right now. So I mean, what I'm trying to say here is we would rather educate the public or the partners about the benefits of the applications that are being built on top of blockchain technology, because there's no other way to do it. That would be preferable, because nobody is buying into blockchain in the healthcare, if you consider that the public that we are addressing. But of course, it's a big thing in terms of decentralization and trust for enabling disruptive healthcare products in the market.
That is correct. Well, I believe we don't have any more questions, and we've gone through our entire agenda. So thank you very much, Eberhard, for taking the time despite your vaccine shot yesterday. And thank you, of course, to all the dHealthineers for joining. I see there's a fair amount in our comments. And let me just have a quick check of what else is happening before we close off. I think I've answered that. Can't seem to use swipe plugs to buy DHP from my region, Nigeria. Will this be possible soon? I will have a look at that. I'll do this right after the call. So Mimer, I'll be in touch with you. No worries. But yeah, I guess we're good. We're good to go. Thank you for joining, everyone. And thank you for giving us the opportunity to share our blueprints for the coming year. We'll be heading with our infrastructure, with our B2B development, of course, our road tour as well, and finding backers. So I look forward to the upcoming months with you. Please share any feedback, questions, or concerns on the Discord or privately via our DMs on Twitter. And you'll see us around throughout the days, of course. So thank you very much. And that will be all for today.
Thank you also from my side.
Cheers.
Bye.
All right. Bye-bye.